I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to share with you an exciting new development in our work with the Vincentian family. It's really a great follow-up to what Ellie just spoke with us about, because a lot of what we are doing are presenting concrete activities and strategies which are trying to help us foster the relationships with the Vincentian family that we just spoke about. I'd like to quickly take you through a 2-year process that had as its high point the piloting of a program on collaboration just this past May in Paris. We were very fortunate to have Greg Gay with us in Paris for the start of the week. And he was interviewed by Toma from Poland, who was there to cover the program for FamVin.
The big event now is our Vincentian Family Collaboration Program, which has been in preparation now for 2 years, actually since our last General Assembly in 2010. And we've brought together now 34 participants, together with a team of 10 people, with the hope of deepening our relationships one with another in the Vincentian family, and therefore being of greater service to the poor in God's kingdom.
So this initiative is something to initiate or motivate people from different branches of Vincentian family to work together and to create a better perspective for development of the family in the world.
Exactly. And we've only asked that the cream of the crop would be the ones that participate, people who we know will be willing to take this back to their own countries, form teams themselves, and continue to deepen the roots that are among us as a Vincentian family, so that we might collaborate and be better equipped to work together as St. Vincent would want us to, as a Vincentian family, for the well-being of and service with and for the poor.
So one can think that it is a development of the line of actions of the recent General Assembly.
It's that kind came out of the General Assembly of the Congregation of the Mission, yes, especially our line of action that deals with the Vincentian family, as well as listening to the cries of the poor in a more attentive way, and then applying the method of systemic change. So reference to the Vincentian family. It includes the traditional branches that we have, like AIC, the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, Vincentian Marian Youth, the Association of Miraculous Medal, and Misevi. But in the Vincentian family, there are many, many others. For example, this time we have participating some Brothers of Charity. We have Sisters of Charity from 2 different provinces of the Federation of Elizabeth Ann Seton. We have educators from a number of our universities, particularly our university in All Hallows in Ireland, as well as the Adamson University and DePaul, St. John's, and Niagara. They're all present.
All the great Vincentian universities in the world.
And there are others that hopefully they'll get on board with us as we move different projects together forward.
The Vincentian Family Collaboration Commission, which I have the privilege of chairing, is a steering commission of the Vincentian Family Executive Committee, or as I like to call them, the Fearsome Foursome, who are composed, as you know, of the international president of the AIC, the international president of the Vincent de Paul Society, Sister Eveline, and Greg. Our mandate is to be a steering commission for the VFEC, and our mission is to promote collaboration among all of the branches of the family. We do that by reviewing ideas for international collaboration and to make recommendations to the executive committee. We act on recommendations from them, and we also attempt to monitor progress of the Commission's international initiatives and give reports back to the executive committee. What that has concretely included has been the program of the Vincentian Family Collaborative Action Program, which we just had in Paris, as well as assisting Greg with reviewing grant proposals that come from inter-branch collaborations for the Systemic Change Commission. So if there is any systemic change grant application that is being presented by more than one branch, our commission looks at it first and recommends to Greg which would be the three that we would suggest sending to the Systemic Change Commission for their consideration. One of the first things that the Collaboration Commission did was name a design team to prepare for the program that we just had in Paris. The members of the design team included Dan Borlick from SEEV, Sister Kieran Neves, who is the daughter of charity in charge of the formation for the Vincent de Paul Society in the United States, as well as curriculum and education specialists from the 5 English-speaking universities of the Congregation of the Mission: Adamson in the Philippines, All Hallows in Ireland, DePaul in Chicago, Niagara in Niagara Falls, and St. John's University here. We owe them a special debt of gratitude for their incredible generosity, and also we owe a word of thanksgiving to God for the creativity and the gifts that they shared with us. The design team designed a program that utilized adult learning methodologies with a good balance of input and processing. The blend of varied styles of presentations, of large and small group work, of personal reflection time, and of deliberate strategies for helping participants to get to know each other created an environment that met everyone's needs ultimately and was also very sensitive to adult learning styles and the different learning styles of the people who were present. As Greg mentioned, there were 34 people who attended the program this past May. They represented 13 branches of the Vincentian family and 16 countries around the world. This, as you know, was a pilot program, so at this stage it was only offered in English. The beauty of the group of people who came to this program was that they were a wonderful mix. There were both lay and religious. There were people from many walks of life and who had many ministerial experiences. They were men and women. They were young and old. They were people who were very experienced in the Vincentian charism from their own branches, as well as people who did not have as much experience with the charism. And even with people who were present who did not have the greatest skills in English, we were very blessed that somehow or other the Spirit gave us the gift of tongues. The program opened on Pentecost Sunday. We, as we were planning for this, never knew that it was going to be Pentecost Sunday. We just picked the date that was convenient. And I'll be honest with you, as the design team realized it was Pentecost, and as the events unfolded that weekend, we saw it as a definite sign from God. I have no doubt that everyone who participated in the program felt it was the work of the Spirit, which was creating a new energy among the branches of the family that were present for the work of collaboration on behalf of those living in poverty. And as I mentioned, although everyone's English was not the best, and although people's experience of the charism varied greatly, it all worked together to beautifully create what was, for some people, a conversion experience. But I don't want you to take my word for it.
The word that captures the week for me is broadening. On any given morning or at lunchtime or mealtime, I might hear a story of someone who is working with lepers in the Cameroons, or it could be somebody trying to animate youth in a very difficult climate in Egypt, or it could be somebody who knows of reconciliation efforts that are happening in South Sudan. That was a wow.
In a way is, I think, just how important relationships were in our Vincentian history and how important they still are in our work today, within our branches and between our branches and with the people we're serving, and beyond that with other community groups.
The program had 5 modules. The first module was entitled, "A Vincentian is a Visionary." And we tried to have an action word connected with each theme. And the action word for Module 1 was reawakening. Having the week in Paris and weaving into the program the historical Vincentian shrines had a powerful impact on both the participants and the design team. The historical sites were viewed not as sightseeing trips, but as pilgrimages to places that were holy in our tradition. We were convinced in our evaluation of the program that this needs to be held in Paris, because this piece of the program, which was weaved into the whole week, was too important a piece of the process and could not be replicated anywhere else. We hoped that by the end of the week, our participants will have reawakened in their hearts the vision that animated our founders, and that this vision would be incarnated in them.
A journey with Vincentian brothers and sisters from all the branches of the Vincentian family, a journey to rediscover Vincent de Paul and all our saints, our marvelous saints of the Vincentian family.
The the national president of the Vincentian Marian Youth in Egypt, I just figured out that there are lots of people who are working in other parts of the world that might be doing much more than what we are doing. So what I'm planning to do is just letting the people know that they're not working alone. Some others are working within the same family, same spirituality and same concepts, and that would encourage them a lot, I'm sure. And also, I have in mind that just seeing all of these people working and doing all of this great job, it just brings to my mind the fact that we can share resources, we can make use of each other's resources and experience which is very beneficial if it's put to application.
Where we've come from,
Uh-huh.
why we are doing what we're doing, and understanding that Vincent, Louise, Frederick and Rosalie were all very human people, and to try and do that same work. This trip has made them very real.
Our second module was entitled A Vincentian is a Contemplator, and the action word was rerouting. The second module, we were hoping that our participants would be rerouted in their relationship with God so as to be effective servants of the poor. And one of the highlights of the week was on Tuesday evening when we were invited to Rudebach to have an experience of contemplation. The chapel was open to us, it was just us with some daughters, and the profound silence that happened in the group really touched the hearts of many of the participants.
The word to encompass this week would be one of the terms that they've used on one of the focus days this week is rerouting. I feel like this experience has really rerouted me within the charism, given me some extra energy, that extra push to be a better Vincentian and to better collaborate with Vincentians in my city, my region, and across the country.
So one of the biggest realizations of this trip has been that, and it happened yesterday during one of the sessions, is that I could actually aspire to be a Vincentian myself, so that I could work alongside other Vincentians, trying to work really hard at portraying and demonstrating on my daily life, not only the work but the personal, to be a Vincentian myself.
Our third module was entitled A Vincentian is a Collaborator. And the action word for that module was rediscovering. We had hoped that by the end of the week, our participants would have rediscovered for themselves the power of collaboration as the only way to work as a member of the Vincentian family, and also as the only way to work to affect systemic change in the service of people living in poverty.
I will try to implement what I've learned here, and especially, how to resolve the conflicts between the team. Also in my community, why not?
And when I get home, I will probably take with me like all the stories probably, and I'll try to use it in my work with Vincentian family in Slovenia with all the branches. And I hope I will do my commitment, like we did it here, to spend more time working for the Vincentian family and being a better servant in a spirit of
take home, since it's all about collaboration, is to see what I can do to try to bring together the Vincentian family in New Orleans, members anyway, some daughters, Sisters of Charity there now, St. Vincent de Paul, Ladies of Charity, and a few members of the Congregation of Mission are there, that we could somehow at least get together and maybe talk about what could we collaborate on. I have some ideas about that kind of I'm recommitted to. I've made feeble efforts before without much success, but I'm going to try again to get us together.
Would you take back with you to your country?
We need collaboration more than ever, and not to be afraid to think outside the box and to dream and think big about what we can do.
Our fourth model was entitled, "A Vincentian is a Catalyst," and the action word for that was reigniting. It was our hope that as a result of the week, the participants would reignite within themselves their passion to be catalysts for change in whatever situation they live and work in.
When I go back, try and foster the same spirit. So, and I have an interest in refugees and the support of people who are in need and who are moving to another country because of oppression.
We'll take back the collaboration skills that we learned. I work with a committee in Haiti that's made up, which 2 delegates from each branch, and we learned a lot of styles and techniques for how to work with people of varying styles and how you can correct some of your styles that might not be effective. So I'll take that back with me. On a personal level, what I've definitely lived here is the shared experiences that people have across cultures. It's interesting because I think we think that that culture affects situations, a lot does, but it's interesting to see how many things are human nature. And so that's the biggest personal.
And our final module was entitled, "A Vincentian is a Servant," and the action word there was reimagining. One of the activities that we asked the participants to do was to create what we called a map, and that was short form for my action plan. They were asked to concretely come up with the strategies that they would use as a result of the week back at home in order to be instruments of collaboration with the Vincentian family in the situations in which they lived. And by doing that, it was our hope that they would reimagine themselves in whatever ministerial roles that they had, so that they could be re-energized in their service of the poor. Is there life after Paris? We are hoping to be able to continue a dialogue with the participants over the next year. We asked them to publish their goals that they came up with themselves, and each member of the Vincentian Family Collaboration Commission was assigned 4 participants whom they will work with over the course of the coming year, so that at the 6-month and 12-month point, each participant would be asked to do an evaluation of how they are living their goals, what they have mapped out, so to speak, and the commission member would respond to that with words of encouragement, maybe some words of direction, whatever they feel they need as a result of the half-year and full-year evaluation. We felt that the mentoring piece was very important, so that after the participants went back into their home environments, they did not feel like they would be isolated and alone.
And that as much as we are all parts of the world, we're actually not that far away from each other, and that really there are many things we can do to help each other and to link. And some of those thoughts are only occurring to me today, 10-15 minutes ago. So I think I would keep learning from the week as time goes on, and I'll be reminded of little moments. Why didn't I think of that then? But it's through conversation that I'm being reminded, and a great eye-opener, a great eye.
Part of what I'll take home is that broadened awareness of the whole family and of the kind of work that's being done in places all around the world, but also of a different sense of how to connect with people and a desire to connect even at home. There aren't a lot of other branches around where I am, but there are societies and there are ladies and there are ways to do it. We're already doing it with other sisters, with daughters and with sisters from Nazareth.
This has been a very memorable week. I think what I'll take back from this is how the 5 values, Vincentian values, prepare us as Vincentians to encounter diverse populations, to work with new people, particularly people who live in poverty, but also how to work amongst ourselves and with people in the community. So how those values prepare us to encounter different people and how to get great meaning in our own lives by living those values out.
I think a deeper understanding of the Vincentian charism. I'm delighted that that's happened. And stories of collaboration between members of the Vincentian family have been an inspiration to me and have pointed to what's possible and what can happen. So I'll be taking back with me a greater desire to collaborate and to teach others how to collaborate.
What is going to change what you do in your country?
When I will be back in Cameroon, a meeting first. After the meeting, I will do a session of formation in different groups, branches. Immediately when I will be back, invite the different leaders of the branches together and see how we can start the formation.
And finally, is there life after Paris for the project design team? We have done an evaluation of the pilot program, and the design team will be meeting within the next couple of months to put together, quote unquote, the final package. This curriculum will be reoffered in Paris from June 8th to June 13th, 2014, to participants who will be personally invited, who are Spanish, Portuguese, and French speaking, with the vision that after that program next June, those groups will be able to then take the program and acculturate it and translate it into their own contexts so that we can then offer the program in other languages in subsequent years. That is the dream, and that is what we are working toward, but I don't want to have the final word.
That's been what has been happening this week. A group of very Vincentian people is gathered together, ask questions, learn skills, experience the heritage, and ask questions about where do we go from here? It's a little like the road to Emmaus. We may not know what the future brings, but we definitely feel like we have a start on the road because we've come together and shared our stories.
Thank you for listening.
Muchas gracias.